Okay. So are not scholarly tendencies okay uh, if the jnana or the knowledge in bhakti is bhakti unmukh gyan? Uh, hmm. So the simple answer is that uh, if we are holistically oriented in Krishna consciousness, uh, then we will not be bewildered. That is true. Uh, so holistically oriented means to accept and imbibe and practice every limb uh, of devotional service, which is emphasized by the acharyas, every limb of devotional service. Then there is no problem. So like one of the limbs is to read Shastras very nicely, scrutinizingly, like that. Obviously, our motivation is not just to become a scholar or not at all to become a scholar, but we want to offer our intelligence to Krishna. We want to understand Krishna's message with the purview of applying it. Yeah? So in that way, we want to take shelter of Krishna. So with that mood we are hearing, then it is not exactly scholarly, then it is fine. But then as it is said, okay, uh, okay, how much we should read scriptures? We should read somewhere in between 4 hours to 7 hours a week. If we are in that range, then we are good enough. So Raisham was given a matrix of 3.5 to 5 hours, depending on second year, fifth year, pass out. Prabhupada at one time said 1 hour reading every day. So it's in between 4 to 7, then we are okay, like that. Then it is fine. Now, because then it's not just reading. Then the acharyas talk about preaching of Vaishnava Seva. So we are holistically oriented. Then it is very nice. Then it's not a problem. Like that. And in that time slot, whatever that's all fine. Then there is no problem. So the problem or the risk may arise when we are not holistically oriented. So uh, 7 hours a week is fine, 6 hours a week is fine, but 7 hours a day, oh, there is some problem now. Now some jnana tendencies may creep in, like that. Because now the devotee is going theoretical, he is not applying anything, is it? So then that scholarship will, so then he will develop desires that let me now study Sanskrit, let me now go into, so then let me study grammar, Sanskrit, go into deeper commentaries, other sampradaya commentaries. And what is the extent to that? The extent to that will be that a person will become completely confused. Because Bahu Shastra, Bahu Vakya, Chitte Te Brahma Haya. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami is explaining Bahu Shastra, Bahu Vakya, Chitte Te Brahma Haya. So too many Shastras, too many lords, will bewilder a person. So that's the easiest thing which can happen. That is the easiest thing which can happen. It may lead to further serious consequences of intellectual deviations and everything. But that is the only problem. Similarly, you see, there is a possibility risk of karma tendency also in the practice of bhakti. Now we may say, okay, where is the risk of karma tendency? If one is holistically oriented, there is no problem. Like if one is focused on service, then one is just serving. After some time, one may see that devotees arrange certain facility to offer the service a little better. A certain facility to offer the service a little better. So now when the facility comes, if we continue our focus on service or rather increase our service, then that facility will not intoxicate. However, one becomes a little bit more facility conscious, then karma tendencies will creep in. Like that. Like Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj time. So devotees were staying on rental, Toliganj, that was a rental, no? Not Toliganj, that Ulta Danga. Ulta Danga was a rental place. So, and very massive preaching was going on from that rental place. They didn't have any center. So some devotees, they gave their hard-earned donations and everything, and their desire was to create a very nice facility where Bhakti Saraswati Maharaj and all his disciples, they all can very nicely preach. So therefore the Bagh Bazar Gaudiya Math came up. But then unfortunately the devotees got caught up into fights of which room they want to occupy. Everyone wanted the Ganga facing room. So much so that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj himself was very upset, and so himself was very upset, because so what happened? The karma tendencies came in, so the mission got hampered, the preaching spirit got hampered. Therefore, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj wanted to rip off the marble and sell it, and with that money print books. That is where he told Prabhupada that whenever you get money, you better print books like that. So you see, therefore, in our movement, if you see, there has not been, Prabhupada never had a very overwhelming emphasis on very, say, gorgeous, magnificent temples. And the book distribution had been, or book printing had been a very powerful emphasis. Harinam, book distribution, you see, preaching oriented activities. But if you see temples all around the world, they're quite simple, most of them quite simple. Some of them very gorgeous and ghost haunted. So first the ghost got delivered, and then the other population getting delivered. So yeah, and like say George Harrison's home, that might be very opulent, and some magical feats like Fisher Mansion, Prabhupada's magical aura, like that. But then over and beyond that, so Mayapur was headquarters, so Prabhupada wanted, but starting was very simple, is it? Yeah, see, starting was very simple, but the focus had been like that, Then slowly as the movement has matured, so some places there are gorgeous temples, especially where it can make a big impact, like metro cities and all that, because temples are gorgeous, is it not? So this is the point. So there is this tendency, which one has to be careful about. Therefore, if one is holistic, there is no problem. That yes.
Those who are doing this service, they are under very special guidance. Even that is Prabhupada this Gopi Paramahans, he too understood Sanskrit, under पूरा properly forward it is not a common practice to go in that direction. So it's very
risky. Yeah. But that path is the scholarship path is a bit risky. So see, on one hand it's very risky, on the other hand it doesn't give an extra edge. It doesn't give an extra edge. I mean, we can take the risk into something which has impact also. Either it can accelerate our spiritual life, so we can take the risk, or it can be a very powerful offering to the world, so it can be a risk. So when it comes to too much of scholarship and Sanskrit, nobody in the world is much interested about, so what it needs to preach to people is not scholarship, it's something else, it's basically a lot of compassion, lot of meditation, is it not? Lot of hard work, is it not? That's what is needed. Yeah. So yeah, like I always tell, my book distribution attempts in Melbourne. So I was preparing myself. Okay, this shloka I will quote, and this is what I will speak. Okay, this is what Bhagavad is giving us. I tried 3 hours, not a single book went. Melbourne, CBC, Melbourne. 3-4 hours, not a single Gita went actually. Nobody was stopping only. Good devotees had told me, if you can make them stand, They're all going like a mob, like that, like a storm. They're just dashing, like that. And then you're telling, hey, Haribol, this, that, whatever you do. I mean, they say that you decide what you want to do. If you can make somebody, stand, you're 50% done. That's what they told. So I could make a few, maybe half a dozen people stand in 3 hours. And then I was speaking whatever I was speaking, like that. But then there was this devotee with me whom I was watching. So he could distribute some 10, 15, Gitas, which is like, very nice. So I was speaking many things. Okay, Bhagavad is about art of work, and it talks about minds, energy, this, that, and you see, the second chapter, this chapter, that chapter, and a crisis situation, this and that, So this other devotee, he didn't say anything, he was just saying, no. So he was doing some very different kind of tricks, so so first of all, he was not in a formal dress. He was wearing, he was wearing a t-shirt. His cap was, in a different style, like that. His hands were like yo style, little bit, that way, So that's how he was, like that. And and then he would address people like, yo man, what's up, yo, yeah, and then to somebody he was, just asking about, okay, your earphones, very sleek and trendy, like that. The other person, I just like your look, dashing man, like that he was speaking. And so and I was watching and wondering now how to memorize and prepare myself for all this. I mean, we need some training programs by somebody at least. So, 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 and many of them, and to some of them, he would say, "Okay, like what is that? Something he was doing, this, something, and to some others, he was doing, knock, knock, this type of thing, so something like that. So he was doing all sorts of antics, like that, and people were just taking. And all he was mentioning, this is a book on yoga, India tradition, yoga, 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 that's all, that's all. And so Bhagavad Gita was $5, but and people would say, okay, how much you want, He said, we don't want anything, but if you like, out of your good heart, if you want to give anything. He said, oh yeah, man, why not? Why good heart? You're such a good friend, yeah, and he would end up just taking out a note, $20. He said, take it, That's it was, so the devotees there, they land up getting much more money than the price cost donations, like that. So they do good amount of fundraising by that. So they told me, don't say a price of Gita, I said, okay, fine. But mostly people land up giving $10, $20, like that. No, they, in general, they don't stop also. So now you may say that, okay, what is this? Is this scholarship? That is nothing actually, Now, if you want to understand or learn from an academic perspective, then I don't know what all aspects of Aussie culture one has to learn, Okay, what kind of music they hear, what kind of slangs they speak or whatever, But a little easier way you can observe some devotees and just copy them. Like that. So scholarship is not much in that sense effective also that way. So better than that, so better than diving for scholarship, we can dive on those avenues which are more effective, Like say for example, devotees are nowadays diving into making video presentations, and but we are seeing that is impactful. So learning such a thing is good because it is having a good teaching impact. And for us, it's same. It gives us absorption. So something which has good preaching impact, there we work hard. That is fine. Like say big temples. In metro cities and all, we can make big temples. Why? Because it's very attractive for people then. Like Delhi is there, or Juhu is there, no? Juhu is there. Even Mayapur, you see, is so attractive. Nobody knows there is a temple in Calcutta. Very few, no? Calcutta temple is just a two-storied building, no? Uh, Calcutta temple, nobody knows. Anybody you have found who knows Calcutta temple? Nobody knows. Anytime they see the dress, you're coming from Mayapur. Yeah, yes, no problem. Take the book. That's the point. But you make a powerful temple, the whole city gets to know, no? That way. So, so that's a good. So maybe that is a fruitful activity. That effort is a fruitful effort. Although that involves a lot of hard work, but at least some preaching is happening. Okay, so what is the chit aspect in the spiritual world? The knowledge aspect. Huh. So it's not that Shastras are not there in the spiritual world. See, what is Shastras? So basically, the topmost thing is glories of the Lord. And in Krishna, in the spiritual world, everything what is happening is a Shastra. So that is why Krishna performs pastime one day, the next day the gopis are just reciting the previous day's pastime. And then when the gopas come back, they hear new pastime, the next day make songs out of new pastime. So everything, whatever anyone is speaking, the residents of the spiritual world are speaking, that is all Shastra. So why the term Shastra comes very prominent in the material world? To show Pramanikta. Because there are many bogus people who are giving spiritual commentaries. Therefore Vyasadeva wrote it down, Bhaiya, this is Pramanik. So anyone who is speaking something in line with what is mentioned here, genuine, all other things. So just to demarcate the genuineness and the Pramanikta of the Parampara, because people are all conditioned and diseased, the whole concept of Shastras and writing of Shastras and all came up. But ultimately it's glory of the Lord. And spiritual world, everything is Shastra. Krishna is making Shastras, no? Krishna is the creator of Shastras. No? He makes history, is it not? Like that. And so Vyasadeva just did it one time for this material world. Why he did one time? Because people are not much interested. See, supply and demand. Vyasadeva just wrote and made scriptures one time. Because utna hi nahi karte, that much is not, that much is more than enough for people. And that much only people are not interested about. Spiritual world, the gopis every day they are making, they are writing Puranas. No? Why? Because whatever pastime happens, the gopis are writing songs about that. No? They are making songs about that. No? And they are describing it in very choicest words and all that. Every day, all the time they are doing that. That means they are all the time creating and composing Puranas. Is it not? Right? The, yeah, so they are all the time composing Puranas, like that. So yeah, so they are all the time composing Puranas. So that means that Shastras in the spiritual world is, in another comparison, are unlimited. What is the volume of Bhagwatam in the spiritual world? Infinite. What is our volume? 18,000 verses. Why? Because that itself is a big thing for us to, take it up like that. Interesting, no? That's the point. And Krishna performed newer and newer pastimes like that. And whenever Krishna repeats a pastime, the devotees get newer and newer revelations within that pastime. So, so that is the point. So because our intelligence is only this much, our Shastras are very limited. The Krishna consciousness, spiritual world, everything is a Shastra. Every walk is a Shastra, every talk is a Shastra. By the way, heavenly planet Bhagavatam is much bigger. If you happen to go there, I mean, not recommended to go there, but if you by mistake land up there, by mistake or for preaching or whatever purpose, then you can see their Bhagavatam is bigger. Their Bhagavatam is not 18,000. It is bigger. So because their Pentium system is can cram terabytes, और after terabyte के बाद next क्या आता है? कौन सा byte आया अभी? हाँ? पीका, बीका, पीका. हाँ तो क्या बोलते हैं उसको? पेकाबाइट. ओके, पेकाबाइट. हमको लगा फीका बाइट. ओके. So so anyways, okay, so terabyte, petabyte now. So
Not that much. इतना वोल्टेज हमको आता है because this जो illiterate Brahmin होते थे महाप्रभु कराएंगे. Even if he was illiterate, he was having complete knowledge.
yeah, so bookish knowledge is one time. Yes. So now comes the answer to the second question. Yeah, the second point was that what is this chitta all about? This chitta means that we will achieve our 100% perfection. So our local maximum we will achieve, but we can never reach global maximum. So we will get 100% knowledge, which a jiva soul can get. So our universal limits will come, but absolute universe is infinite, which we will never be able to catch. So that is the point. But we will catch infinite amount, which is good enough for us. Who get clouded? No, they know everything. They know everything. They have full knowledge of everything. They have complete knowledge, but their love overshadows the reverential knowledge. Yeah, so their love, like that, means that is natural. That is natural. So you see, there may be a scientist, studying in MIT, a professor in MIT, and he may be, the Nobel laureate or whatever. But his grandson is, playing in the park, and the grandson falls from a jhula, and hits himself. He may go running. He will not do some quantum formulations. That okay, So he may be a Nobel laureate, but he will not remember quantum formulations. Then, he will just run. Is it not? And pick up his child and whatever, and get him some toffee or chocolate or something like that. So the point is, reciprocation of love is much more higher than knowledge. No, so the knowledge has to get overshadowed when it comes to reciprocation. That's what happens to spiritual world residents. They have full knowledge, which is exhibited time to time. When the need be, they can. Yeah, but their love, no. But when the surge of love comes, then everything gets, other things get overshadowed. Okay, next verse. 30, 31. 31. Tvanmaya yadha jana isha khandito yadanyad ashashta ritatmanu buddha yatacharet balahitam pita swayam तथा त्वाम एवारहसि न संहितुम. Due to your illusory energy, all the living beings in this material world have forgotten their real constitutional position, and out of ignorance they are always desirous of material happiness in the form of society, friendship, and love. Please, therefore, do not ask me to take some material benefits from you, but as a father, not waiting for a son's demand, does everything for the benefit of the son. Please bestow upon me whatever you think best for me. So when we don't know what prayer to offer, we can offer this prayer. So when you don't know, I really don't know what is what should I offer, what is needed for me. Even I don't know a spiritual prayer, what should I offer? So just offer this prayer, Krishna, please bestow upon me whatever you think best for me. Is it? So by default, this is the prayer which can work always. Is it not? So you know, and yeah, so by default, this is one prayer which can offer. Oh Krishna, please give me the best, whatever you feel, and I like that. And if you want to offer a more profound prayer than this, then a more profound prayer than this is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That includes everything. Is it not? So, anyways, it is the duty of the son to depend upon his father without asking anything from him. The good son has faith that the father knows best how to benefit him. Similarly, a pure devotee does not ask anything from the Lord for the material benefit, nor does he ask anything for spiritual benefit. The pure devotee is fully surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord takes charge of him as stated in Bhagavad Gita. 1866, Aham tuam sarva papebhyo moksha ishyami. The Father knows the necessities of the Son and supplies them, and the Supreme Lord knows the necessities of the living entities and supplies them sumptuously. Therefore, the Upanishad states that everything in this material world is complete. Purnamidam Ishopanishad invocation. The difficulty is that due to forgetfulness, the living entities create unnecessary demands and entangle themselves in material activities. The result is that there is no end to material activities, life after life. Before us, there are varieties of living entities, and everyone is entangled in transmigrations and activities. Our duty is simply to surrender into the Supreme Personality of Godhead and let Him take charge, for He knows what is good for us. Ritu Maharaj therefore tells the Lord that as the Supreme Father, He may elect to bestow whatever He considers beneficial for Ritu Maharaj. That is a perfect position of the living entity. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us in his Shikshashtaka, Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janmani janmanishware, bhavatad bhakti rahetuki tvai. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor have I any desire to have beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service in my life, birth after birth. The conclusion is that the pure devotee should not aspire after any material benefit from devotional service, nor should he be enamored by fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. He should always be engaged favorably in the service of the Lord. That is the highest perfection of life. So, uh, so please offer or bestow whatever is best for me. So Srila Prabhupada is very beautifully explaining that the best position in life is to be dependent on the Lord than to ask from the Lord. Is it not? Be dependent from the Lord than to ask from the Lord. So, so there is a catch here. What is this dependent? So this dependent, so dependence See, what is the difference between dependence and expectancy? Hmm? So one may say, okay, we don't have to ask from the Lord. That means the Lord should, whatever we desire, the Lord should fulfill. So sometimes a pampered child will have that kind of, so then that is not dependence, that is expectancy, is it not? So in a pampered child, he feels, okay, whatever I demand, the Lord, or whatever I need, or whatever I feel I need, the parent should just supply. Is it not? Like that, I don't have to ask for it, the parent should just supply. So that is not the point. That is super pampering, is it not? Krishna is not going to pamper us. So dependency means having faith in the first place. That no, having faith in the Lord, that whatever He gives is best for me, is it not? So the best is not according to our calculation. That, oh Lord, please give me what is best according to my calculation. But the principle is that, okay, best according to Krishna's calculation. So may not be very best according to our calculation. Maybe a little unpalatable according to our calculation. But having faith that, so dependence requires faith, trust. Is it not? That is the point we have to understand.
Let Krishna take charge of us. So that doesn't mean when we are giving ourselves Krishna doesn't mean only Krishna that we have to present it as well. Like for that reason only Prabhupada he should favorably engage in the service. So जब भगवान को होता है we are depending on you और जैसे आप चाहें वैसे रखो. तो भगवान कैसे चाह रहे हैं कैसे
Yes. Yeah, so dependence, okay, so it's a good comment. So dependence is not dependence to Krishna, but dependence to Krishna, also to dependence to Parampara. Yes, that is very true, because dependence to Krishna is practically affected out by dependence to the Parampara. So this is related to the second point of the question, that, okay, how to understand what is Krishna's will? We understand Krishna's will easily when we are in the association of devotees, like that. So we understand Krishna's will very easily by the Shastras, See, many finer things are not understood, but grosser things are understood. So Krishna consciousness, whatever we understand, we can apply. Is it that? And when we apply, and in due course of time, we will understand finer things. Like gross things we understand, just by reading, the book ourselves. Uh, we can understand, let's not do meat eating, let's chant Hare Krishna. We understand, okay, let's be in the association with devotees. Let's accept the spiritual master. Let's follow the spiritual master. Is it that? So those are things we can understand by reading the scriptures. And when we follow those things, then we can understand more. So, but in general, being with the devotees, we understand much more. Is it that? So you will see, for a sincere person, for a sincere person, if a person is sincere, then you will see everything will coincide. Like, see, like, sometimes, it's not that devotees don't get inspiration. Sometimes they get inspiration to do some seva for it, like that. So when they get an inspiration, sincere person, he will not just start acting upon it because I got a eureka idea, let me act on. So he may actually ask his, the devotees presented, ask the devotees. So you will see that devotees are blessing it. Devotees are very happy with it. Then he sees spiritual master speaking about it also. Then he sees that the Shastras also the Lord is mentioning. The Acharya is also mentioning. So everything is like same line. Then one understands, oh, that means what the thought which I got is proper, and then I can execute it. One need not just start with the thought and then testify. If one gets a thought, then one can testify that thought. But one can take it from the other way also. That, okay, one tries to understand what the Shastras are saying, what the present Acharyas are saying, the ISKCON Acharyas, what Prabhupada is saying, what the present Acharya is saying. And then one sees that, okay, then how can I apply this? And then one can think in that direction now. then it is already blessed because you are just trying to execute the thought. Is it not? That so both ways things can go like that. But then there is a way to test it. Like you see, Vyasadeva understood that, Vyasadeva understood I have not directly glorified Krishna sufficiently. He understood himself, sincere person, could understand himself. Vyasadeva anyways is empowered incarnation, but he is showing or demonstrating that any sincere person will understand himself also. But then he got it validated. Narad is telling the same thing, Vyasadeva became ecstatic. He said, oh yes, Haribol. Now I'll apply that. Initially, he was a little hesitant, he was a little apprehensive that from where this thought is coming. But then Narad Muni stamped it, finished. Now it is to be executed. So he happily executed it. That is the point. Interesting, no? This is the interesting. Okay. Pavel. Let's see. Maitreya Uvacha Iti Adi Rajena Nutaha Savishwadrik Tamaharajan Mai Bhakti Rastute Dishid Rashid Dhira Maite Kritayaya Maya Madiyam Taranti Smatustaja. The great sage Maitreya continued by saying that the Lord, the seer of the universe, after hearing Prithu Maharaj's prayer, addressed the king, my dear king, may you always be blessed by engaging in my devotional service. Only by such purity of purpose as you yourself very intelligently express can one cross over the insurmountable illusory energy of Maya. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, wherein the Lord also claims that the illusory energy is insurmountable. No one can transcend the illusory energy of Maya by fruitive activity, speculative philosophy, or mystic yoga. The only means for transcending illusory energy is devotional service, as the Lord himself states. But if one wants to cross the ocean of material existence, there is no alternative than to take to devotional service. The devotee, therefore, should not care for any material position, whether in heaven or hell. A pure devotee should always engage in the service of the Lord, for that is his real occupation. Simply by sticking to that position, one can overcome the stringent laws of material nature. Simply by devotional service, one can overcome material nature.